Hello and welcome to another tutorial from DigiOz Multimedia. My name is Pete and today I will be showing you how to add a TinyMCE HTML editor to your ASP.NET MVC project. To begin, I've created a standard ASP.NET MVC4 project, a blank one, and I've called it Adding TinyMCE. There's also a standard database that gets created when you create a project like this and choose a project type internet. So in my server explorer, this is my default connection to this database file, and I've created a contact table which has no data in it right now. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to add a TinyMCE editor to my edit form. So let's quickly create a controller, and I will call this controller let's call it contact manager, and I will use the entity framework read write. Oh wait, I gotta first create the entity for the data. So let's do that first. Um, we will create a new item. Well, let's add a folder here. Stay organized. We'll call it entities. And inside of this entities folder, I will add a new item of type data, and it will be an ADO.NET entity data model. And we will call this something like that. So we will generate it from the database. Default connection is fine. Entities. We'll call it adding TinyMCE entities. Next. I covered this in my previous tutorial, so this shouldn't be a surprise to anyone. And model is fine for model namespace. And it should generate the EDMX for me, which it did. Great. So here, ID is an auto increment field. First name is a variable character field of length 50. Same with last name. And address is a text field where I'm hoping to use the TinyMCE on. So that's pretty much all we got. And I'm going to rebuild the project to make the model available to the controller wizard. It looks like it built successfully. So the next thing we do here is we'll create a new controller, and we'll call it, like I said, contact manager. We'll use the entity framework, and here I should have a contact model and a context object. There we go. And when I hit add, it should go through and it should generate all the CRUD operation for me. Edit, create, delete, and details. Great. So here, looks like we got everything here. I'm going to connect to this from the layout, which is in the views folder, shared. And I'm going to change this contact menu option to contact manager and index. And here we will use contact manager for the controller name. So let's quickly run this, make sure everything's working. It should. Great. So if I click on contact manager, let's add something in here. Right now, as you see, there's no text editor. So Pete, some bogus data. Create. Yep, it looks like it's working. So the next thing we want to do is we want to add the TinyMCE editor to this project. Now, what I will do for that is I will go here to Library Package Manager and open Package Manager console. And I will, right here where it says PM, first I make sure that the default project is my current project, which it is. And I will type in here install hyphen package. So this is the package I want to install. There are several TinyMCE packages, but this one by far makes it a lot easier to work with. So what I want you to pay attention to here is as I'm executing this command, you will see in this scripts folder, there will be some changes. So, and you will see this, a whole bunch of files getting added to this folder. So let's execute this. Nope, it looks like I had a typo. Ah, okay. Looks like I typed it wrong. So install package TinyMCE .mvc.jQuery. Okay, let's try that one. Looks like it's fetching the data now. And notice it started adding all these different folders to the scripts folder. That's basically the TinyMCE project. And it will add some additional template files, and it looks like it's now done, which is good. So one of the things that it did when it installed it, TinyMCE, is it added this editor templates folder. And there's a single file in here called TinyMCE jQuery full. And this is basically what it will use to display TinyMCE. So I'm going to change this to 500 pixels just so it's nice and square. And so really that's all you have to do. And then the only other thing is on your model. So if we open up our entities, the contact object, so all I have to do now is add a statement to the top of my address field. It's a UE hint and it says allow HTML, both of which require for you to add a using statement. So they require these two libraries, the system component model data annotation and system web MVC. So that's really all you have to do. So let's run the project again. And go to Contact Manager, edit. Ah, right. It looks like we need a reference to the TinyMCE library, to the jQuery library. So let's do that real quick. And sure enough, it actually tells us up here. So let's drag and drop this jQuery library. jQuery min is fine. All right, and let's restart. Edit. Hmm. Okay, it looks like we got more problems. Okay, so the other thing that I forgot to do is in the layouts file, notice that right now it loads jQuery at the very bottom of the project. Unfortunately, TinyMCE needs it right when it loads. So we essentially have to bring it up here. So by doing this, when the page loads, it will have the jQuery library definition to render the text area the way we want it to. So let's try running it again. Edit. There we go. Excellent. So not the best looking page, but now I can format this thing. And let's make this bold. There we go. And save. Ah, we're missing the jQuery validate library, it seems also. So let's add that in too. So here, let's add the jQuery validate bundle. Try again. Edit. Save. Okay. Okay. So the other thing that we have to do, we have a Internet Explorer 11 bug with jQuery, which apparently the Microsoft team did not test. So what I will have to do here is to add two more jQuery libraries here. And did it copy? Let's try it again. Paste. Okay, so which gives us these two. and we will have to reference it in our bundle configuration, which you can find under App Start. And really, you just have to add one more line to the jQuery bundle, like so. jQuery migrate version 1, whatever the version is, 1.2.1, which we will do here. So this should take care of our problem. Let's try again. Edit, save, no error. Okay, good. So I wish Microsoft would have fixed this before releasing Internet Explorer 11, but I guess, jQuery is not important to them. So this really should be it. So let's try adding someone else. Hmm. All right. It looks like I've got a duplicate reference here for to validate somewhere. Uh, let's try adding one now. Great. So adding is working now. The last thing I want is to make this render HTML, which we can do easily in the index by doing a, for address, we will do HTML.raw model.address. Item.address. Save. Rerun. There we go. So now we've got a nice HTML render that we can work with. So that's really it. As you can see, there's quite a few rearrangements and bug fixes that you have to do before it comes up, but it works pretty well. Thanks for watching. Please subscribe, and if you have any comments or questions, feel free to ask. Thank you.